Do you remember a horror movie that came out in May, maybe, called Belko Experiment?
No. My girlfriend would. She loves horror movies, but I don't keep up.
I don't think a lot of people paid attention to this movie, but they did release a pretty competent VR game that also goes along with the movie.
Really? So what is the movie about? Or what is the game about? Or what are the movie and the game about?
They're both about similar things, but they're both done slightly differently. Hey guys, this is Moriarty.
And this is Brax.
Belko Experiment, the movie, is about an office of 60 people that are taken hostage and told 30 of you need to be dead or 60 of you die. Doesn't matter who's alive, who's dead, 30 of you have to be dead in an hour or you all die.
Sounds like one of those movies where everyone's going to be on edge the entire time because you never know who the killer is, right? Or who's going to turn on who. And I'm sure it gets really chaotic really quickly.
I don't know, but I plan on watching it after playing this game.
Fair enough.
It at least got my attention. Good job, ad game.
Ad game.
It's an ad game. 100% this is an ad game. It is designed to convince you to watch the movie. But it's surprisingly competent in that this is an escape room where you have 15 minutes to escape the room or you die.
So it isn't exactly like the movie then, and whereas the movie it's more about trying to survive 30 other people or however many other people trying to kill you. So do you have other people with you in this game? Are there enemy AIs or is it just you in the room?
There's no enemies or anything like that. It is still an escape room. Essentially means you're just sitting there alone.
I know what an escape room is in real life. I'm assuming it's the same thing in VR.
The only difference is that you do have a neighbor who you can hear through the vent. And that neighbor is also going through the stuff. The idea being that you guys are sharing your findings. So, oh, you've got to find the battery that goes into the thing. And so he'll shout out hints at you occasionally. Presumably you are also giving him your findings.
Oh, hold on. Did you just pick up a a nudie magazine?
Yes, there is some in-jokes and things like that in the game that are there.
All right. Well, I thought it was funny. Apparently, you're too adult to appreciate that sort of humor, so move on.
Very well. So it's an escape room. Presumably you're talking to your friend through the vent. He talks to you through the vent. You have 15 minutes to get it done. And it's actually remarkably competent, I think. It is one of the few games to give you a time limit and say you have 15 minutes to complete this puzzle. There's not a whole lot of games in VR that do that. Typically, you could decide to spend as much time as you wanted just kind of screwing around. The problem that I have with this game is that it requires an absolutely massive play space. And it does not have a teleport or anything like that, which means that the walls of the room are just about unreachable. This is basically, I want to say, almost 4 meters across that it requires. I mean, it's a lot of space that you need for this game.
Yeah, that's a recurring problem that I've heard about in VR games. I've heard a lot of people that have a headset complain about that, so apparently it's a big issue for you guys.
Think about your house right now, and imagine having to find 3 by 2 meters of empty space.
Empty space, it would be absolutely impossible. I would just have to move my bed against the wall or something, I guess, because there's no way I could do that.
And that's the thing. That's what you end up going up against. You often don't have enough room, and that's why a lot of these games tend to go with, okay, 1 by 1 meters, 1.5 by 1.5, which are kind of the standard size.
Yeah, this is the sort of game that you need a VR room, like an entire little room in your house that you just go in there to play VR games on. I guess that would be the most productive way to do it, but who has that?
Not a lot of people have that kind of room. That is a problem. 1.5 by 1.5 or 1.5 by 2 meters, which is, again, very standard, is still big. But if you're going to go bigger than that, like, that's when it gets really ridiculous. And this game is huge. It requires a lot of space. And quite frankly, I couldn't complete the game because I can't reach the corners.
That's disappointing, to say the least.
It is.
I get the feeling that once you've escaped the room, are you finished with the game forever? Is there a reason to continue to play, or is it just kind of a one-shot thing where I'm going to play through this one time, and once I get out of the room, I'll never touch this again? Is that normally the case?
There's a few exceptions out there. Most specifically, I Expect You to Die, which is basically the most perfect escape room of all time, and they occasionally release new puzzles and things which are included into the price of the game for free. And it's so incredibly stunning and fantastic and wonderful that you would probably want to play it again and show it off to people. It's, quite frankly, the best escape room that has ever been done. But this is not that, so no, once you've completed this and figured out the puzzle, you will never pick it up again.
Yeah, that affects how much that I'm willing to pay for it, because if it's something that I'm only going to play through one time, and it says it takes, what do you have, 15 minutes? And let's say, for instance, that I don't figure the puzzle out the first time. Maximum, I would probably spend an hour in this game, right? I mean, how much can they expect me to pay for an hour worth of gameplay?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because since this is an ad, it is also free.
Oh, okay.
So for free, it's absolutely worth it. It's just that it's a competent escape room. And it's because it's an ad that we're surprised by the fact that it is a competent escape room. There haven't been a whole lot of ad games so far. This is the first that I can think of, and it's pretty okay. Like, if you continue to make free games that are of this quality for your random movies, I will continue to play them, and I will probably be watching the Belko Experiment because of playing this game. So, hey, good job, it worked.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and I need to keep that in mind. I was going down a path of kind of negativity about the escape room thing, but no, when you say it that way, it is actually a really cool thing for them to do. If it's free, all they're doing is just trying to get you to pay attention to their movie, and they're doing it with something that you could actually have fun with for an hour. So it's kind of like a double positive in that regard.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're talking about this kind of stuff, right, they will spend however many millions of dollars to show you an ad for 5 seconds on YouTube or for 15 seconds on TV, whereas they could spend the same amount of money and they can produce a VR game that you will spend an hour with. I mean, this is an ad that we're spending multiple minutes talking about. So I think this is a really good idea, and when it's done well, as this one is, it's worth picking up, especially since it's free. Now, if they're going to charge you for it, if they're going to pull the Alan Wake and be like, this is a Verizon ad, but it's also going to cost you $60, then we're talking about a different level of attention and level of gameplay that's required. And I'm not saying that Alan Wake didn't do that well, because I think that was a great game. It's one of the scariest games I'd played at that point. So I really do think that did well, but it's that same sort of thing. It has to do well.
Nothing about it feels sketchy, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and for free, there you go. The game's fun, it's free, it's also going to require a disgusting amount of space, or you're simply going to be unable to complete it. And the thing is that since it is a room scale, there's no teleportation or movement or anything like that, you have to actually have that much space. Like, you can't fake it in some way, which is typically the solution when you're talking about games like Survive or any of these other games out there that give you a large amount of room to play in. They usually give you the ability to teleport, so that you can teleport towards something and, move or whatever, and then they can expand the set of the game without requiring you to have 100 square feet of open space, which I just don't have.
Right. Well, that does sound like it's going to be a problem for those players out there that don't have lots and lots and lots of space, which I'm assuming is probably a pretty common thing. But that aside, at least it was fun, right?
It is fun. You're just never going to be able to complete it if you don't have enough space. Like, that's really what it comes down to. I think when we're talking about a free game, it's free, it's good, it's great, whatever. It requires a lot of space, and if you don't have that space, you will literally be incapable of completing the game.
That's about all there is to that, then.
If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. But if you did like it, go ahead and watch another one up there in the corner. And as always,
We'll see you guys on the next one.
You have 3 minutes remaining.